Zamyad Yast. This Yast, inscribed to the genius of the earth, is devoted to a description of the mountains and the kingly glory, Kava M. Havareno, which are invoked. Well, we can look at our context, but perhaps mentioned as authorities, you could say, together with the earth in the corresponding formula of the Sirozahs, 28. There's no Yasts devoted to the earth itself. The mountains are simply enumerated, 1 through 8. The rest of the Yasts is devoted to the praise of the Havareno, or more precisely to that of those who possessed it, whose powers are feats are described. The list begins with Ahura Mazda, 10, and closes with Saoshyant, 89. That is to say, it begins with the beginning of the world and closes with its end. It includes the Ameshaspentas, 15, Haoshanga, 26, Takma Urupa, 28, Yima, 31, Mithra, 35, Thra'e Ta'ana, 36, Kerasaspa, 38, the kings of the Ka'anyan dynasty. I'll get this volume over here. 66 to 72. Kava Husrava, 74. Zarathustra, 79. Mistaspa, 84. The unsuccessful efforts of Fran Gracian to take possession of it are described at length, 56 to 64. The Yast would serve as a short history of the Iranian monarchy, an abridged Shahnama. Well, predating the Shahnama, of course. And of course, you notice it sort of performs the function of the Bible, but instead of 66 books, it's 16 pages here, right? Is it 16 pages or 18 pages? 0. May Ahura Mazda be rejoiced. And so on. Asham Vahu, holiness is the best of all good. And so on. I confess myself a worshipper of Mazda, a follower of Zarathustra, one who hates the Devas and obeys the laws of Ahura for sacrifice, prayer, propitiation, and glorification unto Havana, the holy and master of holiness, and so on. Unto Mount Usha Dorena, made by Mazda, the seat of holy happiness, under the kingly glory made by Mazda, under that glory that cannot be forcibly seized, made by Mazda, a propitiation with sacrifice, prayer, propitiation, and glorification. Yata Ahuv Ario, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. Section 1 is 1 through 8. 1. The first mountain that rose out of the earth of Spetma Zarathustra was the Haraete Barez. That mountain stretches all along the shores of the land washed by waters, towards the east. The second mountain was Mount Zraddo outside. Mount Manosha. This mountain, too, stretches all along the shores of the land, washed by the waters towards the east, too. From there grew up Mount Usha Da'u Usha Darena, Mount Arizithia, and Mount Fra-Urepa. The sixth was Mount Arizura. The seventh was Mount Bumya. The eighth was Mount Ra'ah Edita. The ninth was Mount Mazis Isva'u. The 10th was Mount Antara Dangu. The 11th was Mount Erozisha. The 12th was Mount Va'ete Ga'esa. 3. There's a 1 in the footnote and then a 3. So that's why. And Mount Adorana, Mount Bayana, Mount Iskata, Upaere Sa'ena, with the snows, 2 Hamankuna mountains, and 8 Vasna mountains. The 8 powerful Fravanku, the 4 Vidvana summits, 4 Mount Zaka, Mount Naka, Mount Vak Ed Raka'e, Mount Asaya, Mount Tud'aska'e, Mount Isava'e, Mount Dra'ash Isva'u, Mount Sa'ereva'u, Mount Nangusma'u, Mount Kahyu, Mount Antara Kanga. 5 Mount Sikadava, Mount Ahuna, Mount Ra Emana, Mount Ashastembana, Mount Urunyo Va Idka'e, Mount Asnavant, Mount Usha'ama, Mount Usta Havarena, Mount Siamaka, Mount Vafreya'u, Mount Va'urusha. 6 Amongst which stand Mount Gatara, Mount Adutava'u, Mount Spitavarena, Mount Spentodata, Mount Kadrava Aspa, Mount Ka'o Eresa, Mount Ta'era, Mount Baro Srayana, Mount Barana, Mount Frapiya'u, Mount Udrya, and Mount Ra'evant, and all those heights to which men have given the name of Mount. 7 2 The number of 2,000 mountains, and 244, O Spitima Zarathustra. 8 For its brightness and glory, I will offer it a sacrifice worth being heard, namely, under the awful kingly glory. Under the awful kingly glory, we offer up the libations, the ha'ama and meat, the barisma, the wisdom of the tongue, the holy spells, the speech, the deeds, the libations, and the rightly spoken words. Yenhe, Hatam, and all those beings whom Ahura Mazda, and so on. And remember, ha'ama is like soma, but with extra ingredients. And soma also would be mixed with milk and sweetener and stuff like that too. So that's, but ha'ama includes 37 other plants. Some of them are purely, things that you could normally consume. Some of them are enhanced intoxication of the other 3, you could say. I'm not recommending ritual or recreational drug use here. I'm just saying that, this is what their practice was. But there's also a symbolic representation of what's going on too. Section 2 is 9 through 13. And, nowadays, typically they just use the ephedra. It's just like they group together and take cough medicine and pray, basically. So, 9. We sacrifice under the awful kingly glory made by Mazda. Awe-inspiring, not horrible. It's different, awful. Made by Mazda, most conquering, high-working, that possesses health, wisdom, and happiness, and is more powerful to destroy than all other creatures. 10. That belongs to Ahura Mazda, as Ahura Mazda made the creatures, many and good, many and fair, many and wonderful, many and prosperous, many and bright. 11. So that they may restore the world, which will, thenceforth is in parentheses, never grow old and never die, never decaying and never rotting, ever living and ever increasing, and master of its wish, when the dead will rise, when life and immortality will come, and the world will be restored at its wish. 12. And the creation will grow, deathless, the prosperous creation of the good spirit, and the Drug shall perish, though she may rush on every side to kill the holy beings. She and her 100-fold brood shall perish, as it is the will of the Lord. 13. For its brightness and glory, I will offer it a sacrifice. 3 is 14 through 20. We sacrifice unto the awful kingly glory made by Mazda, and so on. 15. That belongs to the Ameshasmentas, the archangels, the bright ones, who looks perform their wish, tall, quickly coming to do, strong, lordly, who are undecaying and holy. 16. Who are all 7 of one thought, who are all 7 of one speech, who are all 7 of one deed, whose thought is the same, whose speech is the same, whose deed is the same, whose father and commander is the same, namely the maker Ahura Mazda. Again, the metaphorical family language, because we see in some of these references in this book, in the Yasts and some other places, that the siblings and the father of it's something that a person can become of, which if it was literal, it's not at one point in life you become a son or daughter of one side or the other. 17. Who sees another's soul, thinking of good thoughts, thinking of good words. Who sees another's soul, thinking of good thoughts, thinking of good words, thinking of good deeds, thinking of Garo Namanna, the paradise hereafter, and whose ways are shining as they go down to the libations. 18. Who are the makers and governors, the shapers and overseers, the keepers and preservers of these creations of Ahura Mazda. 19. It is they who shall restore the world, which will, never grow old and never die, never decaying and never rotting, ever living and ever increasing, and master of its wish, when the dead will rise, when life and immortality will come, when the world will be restored at its wish. 20. When the creation will grow deathless, the prosperous creation of the good spirit, and the Drug shall perish. Though she may rush on every side to kill the holy beings, she and her hundredfold brood shall perish, as it is the will of the Lord. For its brightness and glory, I will offer it a sacrifice, and so on. Sacrifice be a pawn, sort of benediction. You don't have to worship this as an intercessor, that sort of thing. 4 is 21 through 24. 21, we sacrifice unto the awful kingly glory made by Mazda, and so on. 22, that belongs to the entities in the heavens, and to those in the material world, and to the blessed ones, born or not yet born, who are to perform the restoration of the world. 23. It is they who shall restore the world, which will, thenceforth, never grow old and never die, never decaying and never rotting, ever living and ever increasing, and master of its wish, when the dead will rise, when life and immortality will come, and when the world will be restored at its wish. 24. When the creation will grow deathless, the prosperous creation of the good spirit, and the Drug shall perish. Though she may rush on every side to kill the holy beings, she and her hundredfold brood shall perish, as it is the will of the Lord. For its brightness and glory I will offer it a sacrifice, and so on. 5 is 25 and 26. 25. We sacrifice unto that awful kingly glory made by Mazda, and so on. 26. That clave unto Haoshanga, the Paradata, for a long time, when he ruled over the 7 Karshvaras of the earth, over the Da'avas and men, over the Yatus and the Pa'irikas, over the oppressors, the blind, and the deaf. He who smote 2/3 of the Da'avas, of Ma'asana, and of the Vavrenya fiends. For its brightness and glory I will offer it a sacrifice, and so on. Section 6 is 27 to 29. 27. We sacrifice unto the awful kingly glory made by Mazda, and so on. 28. That clave unto Takma Urupa the well-armed, while he ruled over the 7 Karshvaras of the earth, over the Da'avas and men, the Yatus and Pa'irikas, the oppressors, the blind, and the deaf. 29. When he conquered all Da'avas and men, all the Yatus and Pa'irikas, and rode, Engra Ma'inu, turned into the shape of a horse, all around the earth, from one end to the other, for 30 years. For its brightness and glory, I will offer a sacrifice, and so on. Section 7 is 30 to 44. 30. We sacrifice unto the awful kingly glory made by Mazda. 31. That clave unto the right Yima, the good shepherd, for a long time, while he ruled over the 7 Karshvaras of the earth, over the Da'avas and men, the Yachts and the Pa'erikas, the oppressors, the blind and the deaf. 32. He who took from the Da'avas both riches and welfare, both fatness and flocks, both weal and glory, in whose reign both ailments were never failing for feeding creatures, flocks and men, were undying waters and plants, were undrying. 33. In whose reign there was neither cold wind nor hot wind, neither old age nor death, nor envy made by the Da'avas in the times before his lie, before he began to have delight in the words of falsehood and untruth. Well, neither cold nor hot wind, there's an exaggeration to make a point, right? 34. But when he began to find, or maybe it's making the point that it was so brief, but it's not making that point. 34. But when he began to find delight in words of falsehood and untruth, the glory was seen to flee away from him in the shape of a bird. When his glory had disappeared, then the great Yima Kusha'eta, the good shepherd, trembled and was in sorrow before his foes. He was confounded and laid him down on the ground. 35. The first time when the glory departed from the Beit Yima, the glory went from Yima, the son of Vivangant, in the shape of a Varagna bird. Then Mithra seized that glory. Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, whose ear is quick to hear, who has 1,000 senses, we sacrifice unto Mithra, the lord of all countries, whom Ahura Mazda has created, the most glorious of all the entities of the heavens. 36. The second time when the glory departed from the bright Yima, being glory went from Yima, the son of Vivangant, in the shape of a Varagna bird. Then Thra-e-Ta'ana seized that glory, he, the heir of the valiant Apthia clan, who was the most victorious of all victorious men, next to Zarathustra. 37. Who smote Azadahaka, the 3-mouthed, the 3-headed, the 6-eyed, who had 1,000 senses, the most powerful fiendish Droog, that demon baleful to the world, the strongest Droog that Engram Inu created against the material world to destroy the world of the good principle. 38. The third time, when the glory departed from the bright Yima, that glory went from Yima, the son of Vivangant, in the shape of a Varagna bird. Then the manly-hearted Karasaspa seized that glory, he who was the sturdiest of the men of strength, next to Zarathustra, for his manly courage. 39. For manly courage clave unto him. We worship manly courage, firm of foot, unsleeping, quick to rise, and fully awake, that clave unto Karasaspa. 40. Who killed the snake, Srvara, the horse-devouring, men-devouring, yellow poisonous snake, over which yellow poison flowed a thumb's breadth thick. Upon him Karasaspa was cooking his food in a brass vessel at the time of noon. The fiend felt the heat and stood upon his feet. He rushed from under the brass vessel and upset the boiling water. The manly-hearted Karasaspa fell back affrighted. 41. Who killed the golden-heeled Gandharewa, that was rushing with open jaws, eager to destroy the living world of the good principle. who killed the brood of Patana, all the 9, and the brood of Nivika, and the brood of Dastyana, who killed the golden-crowned Hitaspa, and Vairashava, the son of Daana, and Pitaana, attended by many Pa-Ivrikas, 42, who killed Arezo Shamana, him of the manly courage, who was strong, well-beloved, hale, energetically rushing, fully awake, never falling back. And I guess we'll see in the comment what the blank is there. 43, who killed Sna Vidaka, him who killed with his nails the stone-handed. Thus did he exclaim to all around, I am an infant still. I am not yet of age. If I ever grow of age, I shall make the earth a wheel. I shall make the heavens a chariot. 44. I shall bring down the good spirit from the shining Garo Namana. I shall make the evil spirit rush up from the dreary hell. They will carry my chariot, both the good spirit and the evil one, unless the manly-hearted Karasaspa kill me. The manly-hearted Karasaspa killed him, and his life went away, and his spirit vanished. 4. Its brightness and glory I will offer to sacrifice, and so on. Section 8 is 45 to 54. 45. We sacrifice unto the awful glory that cannot be forcibly seized, made by Mazda, and so on. 46. For which the good spirit and the evil one did struggle with one another, for that glory that cannot be forcibly seized, they flung each of them their darts most swift. The good spirit flung a dart, and so did Bohu Mano, and Asha Vahista, and Atar, the son of Ahura Mazda. Now, what's the other meanings of son in this language? In other languages, we have of the house and intelligences of, and continuing the purity of, or continuing purely upon the same, or so I would wonder what the word son also means. Well, we know it's a metaphor, but whatever. The evil spirit flung a dart, and so did Akem Mano and Eshma of the wounding spear, and Eza Dahaka, and Spit Ura, who sawed Yima in twain. Then forward came Atar, the son of Ahura Mazda, thinking thus in his heart, I want to seize that glory that cannot be forcibly seized. But Eza Dahaka, the three-mouthed, he of the evil law, rushed on his back, thinking of extinguishing it. 48. Here, give it up to me, O Atar, son of Ahura Mazda. If thou seizest that glory that cannot be forcibly seized, I shall rush upon thee, so that thou mayest never more blaze on the earth made by Ahura, and protect the world of the good principle. 40. And Atar took back his hands as the instinct of life prevailed. So much had Eza affrighted him. Then Eza, 49. And then Eza the three-mouthed, he of the evil law, rushed forward, thinking thus in his heart, I want to seize that glory that cannot be forcibly seized. But Atar, the son of Ahura Mazda, advanced behind him, speaking in these words, 50. There, give it up to me, thou three-mouthed Eza Dahaka. If thou seizest that glory that cannot be forcibly seized, then I will enter thy hinder part, and I will blaze up in thy jaws, so thou mayest never more rush upon the earth made by Mazda, and destroy the world of the good principle. Then Eza took back his hands, as the instinct of life prevailed. So much had Atar frightened him. Now, not just in the ancient Persian religion, as you could see, but elsewhere, you have the idea that of the snake, or even a fiery snake that comes through the anus to the mouth and punishes the sodomite. So that could be what's being implied here. But, as a Dahaka would have denied the claims of hereafter upon him by, the religion, to which Zarathustra would later promote. 51. That glory swells up and goes to the sea of Urukasha. The swift horse, son of the waters, seizes it at once. This is the wish of the son of the waters, the swift horse. I want to seize that glory that cannot be forcibly seized, down to the bottom of the sea of Urukasha, in the bottom of the deep rivers. 52. We sacrifice unto the son of the waters, the swift horse, the tall and shining lord, the lord of females, the male entity, who helps one at his appeal, who made man, who shaped man, an entity who lives beneath the waters, whose ear is the quickest to hear when he's worshipped. And so a lot of the gendering of these entities is not inherent, but a secondary, again, symbolic reference, because the light beings are not really gendered like that. 53. And whosoever of you, O men, thus said, Ahura Mazda, O holy Zarathustra, shall seize that glory that cannot be forcibly seized. He has the gifts of an Athravan. Whosoever shall long for the illumination of knowledge, he has the gifts of an Athravan. Whosoever shall long for fullness of knowledge, he has the gifts of an Athravan. 54. And riches will cleave unto him, giving him full welfare, holding a shield before him, powerful, rich of cattle and garments. And victory will cleave unto him day after day, and likewise strength that smites more than a year. Attended by that victory, he will conquer the havocing hordes, and attended by that victory, he will conquer all those who hate him. For its brightness and glory, I will offer it a sacrifice, and so on. Section 10 is 55 to 64. 55. We sacrifice unto that awful glory that cannot be forcibly seized, made by Mazda, and so on. Certain states, it can be brought about, but the state that's not forced, the state that's bestowed, you could say, or the bestowed aspect of the states, the states of being the psychiatric highs, the sensual highs, the other things in experience. 56, which the Turanian ruffian, Fran Gracian, tried to seize in the sea of Urukasha. He stripped himself naked, wishing to seize that glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn to the holy Zarathustra. But the glory escaped, the glory fled away, the glory changed its seat, and the arm of the sea of Urukasha was produced. Namely, that lake is called Lake Husrafa. 57. Then the most crafty Turanian, Fran Gracian, rushed out of the sea of Urukasha, O Spitama Zarathustra, thinking evil thoughts. We'll have to see later what that is, but I have not been able to conquer the glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn, and to the holy Zarathustra. 58. Then I will defile all corn and liquors. Corn is in, the grains, not that yellow thing. They're not talking about that at all. I guess the word could apply to that, but as to greatness, goodness, and fairness, Ahura Mazda will come against thee, ever eager to create new creatures. God is the evolver, right? Then the most crafty Turanian Fran Gracian rushed down into the sea, but Urukasha, O Spitma Zarathustra. 59. A second time he stripped himself naked, wishing to seize that glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn, and to the glory, and to the holy Zarathustra. But the glory escaped, the glory fled away, the glory changed its seat, and an arm of the sea of Urukasha was produced, namely, that lake that is called Lake Van Gazdau. 60. Then the most crafty Turanian Fran Gracian rushed out of the sea of Urukasha, O Spitama Zarathustra, thinking evil thoughts, and so on, have not been able to conquer the glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn, and of the holy Zarathustra. 61. Then I will defile all corn and liquors. As to greatness, goodness, and fairness, Ahura Mazda will come against thee, ever eager to create new creatures. Then most crafty Turanian, Fran Gracian, rushed down into the sea of Urukasha. 62. A third time he stripped himself naked, wishing to seize the glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn, and to the holy Zarathustra. But the glory escaped. The glory fled away. The glory changed its seat, and an arm was produced in the sea of Urukasha, namely the water, that is called Ausdanva. 63. Then the most crafty Turanian Frangratian rushed out of the sea, Urukasha ospitama Zarathustra, thinking evil thoughts. I have not been able to conquer the glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn, and to the holy Zarathustra. 64. He was not able to seize the glory that belongs to the Aryan nations, born and unborn, and to the holy Zarathustra. For its brightness and glory, I will offer it a sacrifice, and so on. Section 10 is 65 to 69. We sacrifice unto the awful glory that cannot be forcibly seized, mazed by Mazda, and so on. 66. That cleaves unto him who grows up there, where lies Lake Kasava, along with the Ha'etumant River, there where stands Mount Ushadha'u, surrounded by waters that run from the mountain. 67. It runs to him, it flows and swells to him, bringing good pastures and fine horses, bringing plenty, full of glory, with beauty and weal, powerful and friendly, rich of pastures, prolific and golden. It runs into him, it flows and swells to him, bright and glorious, making the whites grow, smiting away all plagues. 68. And there comes with him a horse's strength. There comes with him a camel's strength. There comes with him a man's strength. There comes with him the kingly glory. There is in him, O holy Zarathustra, much of kingly glory, as might extinguish at once all the non-Aryan nations. 69. And then, through it, living creatures may keep away. Hunger and death, living creatures may keep away. Cold and heat. Such is the kingly glory, the keeper of the Aryan nations and of the 5 kinds of animals, made to help the faithful and the law of the worshippers of Mazda. For its brightness and glory, I will offer it a sacrifice. And of course, we're referring with a lot of this to, yes, you engage the various aspects of the material world, but you include the spiritual consciousness in that. And in verse 23 of the Bhagavad Yasts, we're mentioning that Ardashir, the founder of the Sassanian dynasty, was flying from Ardavan with a beautiful wild ram, ran after him and overtook him, and Ardavan understood from this that the kingly glory had left him and passed over to his rival. And Gond is the Pahlavi